My name is Paul Nartzak, and I'll continue another positive instance of collaboration occurred when Bryce would protest and remove his shoes and socks. His teacher and I collaborated, and it was determined that his teacher was going to take the time to require Bryce to put his socks and shoes back on by himself. Bryce has a more difficult time with fine motor skills, so this was a non-preferred task. Thus, though our troubleshooting, he stopped removing his socks and shoes. The transition to Ann McDonald took place in August 2019 when Bryce was just 8 years old. This year started bumpy and ended abruptly with a stay-at-home order due to COVID. From this point moving forward, my actions to advocate for my son became very difficult. I felt my concerns were sometimes acknowledged but lacked appropriate intervention or action. Therefore, the escalation of my son's behavior became irregular, intense, and unpredictable. In a large part, I attribute this to the lack of consistency that was being provided by the staff, and more so direct involvement of an administrator that has little to no qualifications for working with, interacting with children who have special needs. The actions were reinforced by this administrator who used in drafting communication to us, the parents, in personal confrontations and towards our son. That became a trigger for escalation behaviors. We became significantly disappointed with the leadership in Animac and gross lack of professionalism. We felt completely disrespected, loss of trust, and were being told as if we did not follow and did not follow special education protocols, data-driven decisions. Several instances, our privacy was violated, and the lack regarding the empathy or professional collaboration during this extremely turbulent time. We tried following the chain of command by speaking with teachers, relative service providers, and identifying and discuss our concerns and continue navigating the channels of administrators, starting with the special education director, building principal, superintendent, and board members. Each time I did my best to articulate how serious my concerns were related to my son's ability to regulate, transition, and develop academic skills. With each meeting, there were few positive outcomes agreed upon. However, the implementation and follow-through was significantly lacking and continued to contribute to the several dysregulations that my son began to exhibit at school and carry on into our home. The lack of transparency led to the complete lack of trust, feelings of bitterness grew, and forced it to take a path we never would imagine we would experience. That experience forced us to feel, though, with every request for anything reasonable or appropriate as outlined in our child's IEP, we experienced nothing short of a standoff with the district's attorney, who unilaterally made decisions without consideration of what outside specialists were providing as guidance for the best practices for a child with intellectual disability, hearing loss, and significant communication needs. We never felt heard or respected when this person was involved. According to ISB, parents are equal partners on the IEP team. We assume responsibility for our actions and reactions and recognize we didn't always respond with tact and that otherwise would. We felt lost, abandoned, scared, angry, and resentful for blindly trusting and patiently extending time when the district requested our cooperation. Nobody is perfect, but there are better ways to work through situations, and I've experienced that so many times working with other families and IEP teams in my professional line of work. We continue to question, how is this happening to our son and our family? My wish for the administrators, staff, and teachers and community would reflect on my experience and ask themselves, how could we have approached this differently? How could we have maintained a more productive and collaborative relationship? What didn't I do to help preserve the healthy relationship? We are all here tonight sharing a story as a call to action for change. I strongly encourage self-reflection of the following questions. Have we done all we can and should do? Are we keeping lines of communication open and healthy? Is there another person that could be more impactful or a buffer? Ask parents what they feel is not happening that should. Ask parents if they feel like a valued member of the team. And if the answers are not what you expect, pause, think, and then ask yourself, how would you answer this if this was about your child or somebody that you cherish? My wish and prayer is for District 114 are for the other schools to look at our district and community and see a positive, collaborative, and successful environment. Extending their influence to the communities and becoming an example of solidarity and success for children in special education and their families. Sadly, I cannot say that was my experience, but it won't stop me from advocating for my son or the community that I passionately serve and support.
Our 5 minutes are up there.